Today we're teaching arena zoomers why they really should play some more basic lands and maybe even getting some flawless victories. So here is our Jund land destruction deck for Pioneer/Explorer. And I hear you wondering, wait a minute, Pioneer, Explorer, is it even possible to play land destruction in this format? And I know why you're wondering that. It is very true that WotC stopped printing real land destruction way before Pioneer became an actual thing. So if you look at our land destruction, every single land destruction spell in our deck unfortunately replaces the land it blows up with a basic land. So the only reason this deck actually works is that arena players are incredibly greedy. It is kind of mind-blowing to me how many 2-color decks, 3-color decks are playing like 1 basic land, 2 basic lands, which means the actual plan of this deck is our first couple land destruction spells aren't really gonna blow up a land. They're gonna blow up a land, but our opponent's gonna get a basic to replace it. But we're trusting that because arena players are so greedy, they're quickly gonna run out of basics to replace the land with. And once our opponent runs out of basics, all these cards become some of the best land destruction of all time. Like, think of Cleansing Wildfire. When Cleansing Wildfire is 2 mana, blow up a land, you don't have a basic to find, and we get to draw a card, that's just a way better single. Same with Assassin's Trophy, Dire Strain Rampage, we can flash it back. Krenko's Buzz Crusher, one of the 2 big new additions to the deck. Really strong because it doesn't target the land, so it's one of the only cards in our deck that can deal with Lotus Field, which is a big deal in Pioneer. So this is half of our land destruction plan. The other half of our plan is Sunken Citadel to make 2 mana to activate our 8 Field of Ruin effects. So if we combine all this together, we have a lot of ways to blow up our opponent's non-basic lands. Some of them even hit basics lands. And like I said, we're basically just trusting that we're going to quickly run our opponent out of basics, and then all of our stuff is gonna blow up all their lands for real, and pretty soon we're gonna get the flawless victory. Otherwise, we get a bunch of removal, including maybe my favorite card in the deck, which is Deadly Cover-Up. So Deadly Cover-Up has a sneaky superpower in this deck. So the biggest issue for this deck is if we run into a monocolor deck, our plan falls apart. Like if you play against mono red or mono green or mono black, they're probably playing 15 basics or something, and there's just no way we can actually use all of our Cleansing Wildfires and Dire Strain Rampages to run our opponent out of basics. It's not possible against a monocolor deck. So our one chance of beating a monocolor deck, and those matchups are legitimately horrible for us, but we do have one chance because of Deadly Cover-Up. So Deadly Cover-Up, it's a Wrath, which we want in our deck anyway. This sneaky superpower though is its Collect Evidence mode. If we collect Evidence 6, we get to exile a card from our opponent's graveyard, and then we get to search their graveyard, hand, and library for any number of cards with the same name and exile them, and then they shuffle and they get to draw a card for each one in their hand. If you read that carefully, you'll notice that it doesn't exclude basic lands. So if we run into mono red or mono green, our hope is we can use something like Cleansing Wildfire or Assassin's Trophy to blow up a basic land, and then we Deadly Cover-Up, wrap the board, collect evidence, and exile that basic land from our opponent's graveyard, which means we get to exile all the copies of that basic land from their deck. So in theory, and I don't know if this will work in practice, but in theory, this is a way that we can exile pretty much our opponent's entire mana base and make it impossible for them to play a land for the rest of the game. Otherwise, Escape to the Wild gives us card draw. Chandra, pretty much our finisher alongside Buzz Crusher, also really good at doubling up our Assassin's Trophies and Cleansing Wildfires. In the sideboard, a bunch of discard, Chandra Awake Inferno for control, more sweepers, Azeka's Chariot glistening up the board, Alpine Moon for Lotus Fields, and that is Jund land destruction for Pioneer. That's our deck for today. So let's jump into some games and teach some arena zoomers why they really should be playing more basic lands. Thanks for watching, everyone. I hope you enjoy it, and I'll be back in a bit for the wrap up. Need some magic cards? Well, you can snag them from our sponsor, Card Kingdom, over at cardkingdom.com/mtggoldfish. We've got new tokens and playmats, and you can even get the tokens signed if you want. Check them all out over at mtggoldfishmerch.com. We are teaching Pioneer players, I guess Explorer players, Magic Arena players, about playing basics. We're playing some land destruction, but in Pioneer, which sounds like an absurd concept, because Wizards doesn't really print land destruction in Pioneer. None of our land destruction actually just blows up a land. It all replaces itself with another land. The thing is, Pioneer players are so greedy. Most people are playing like 2 basics, so we actually turn our land Blood Tithe Harvester. We actually turn our fake land destruction into real land destruction pretty quickly. What are we doing here? I guess just pass. Well, we could Cleansing Wildfire. Yeah, let's pull up a land. One of the things about Cleansing Wildfire, it has like a superpower, which is it can actually blow up basics. Ideally, we want to use it to clean up our opponent's basics, but cantripping here seems pretty good. We're not doing anything else, and this turns on all of our Field of Ruin effects for next turn. About it. Well, Rakdos is the #1 deck in the format. Inty. Deadly Cover-Up, if we live long enough, should be good. Unfortunately, we can't Power Word kill Blood Tithe Harvester. Opponent pitches a Fatal Push. Wise. Finds a Graveyard Trespasser they can't cast. Well, so if we let them attack again, we're going to take 7 and they Inty. I really want to Field of Ruin a land, but we don't know. I don't know how many lands our opponent's playing. I don't think we're in strip bind mode yet. They got to have more than 1. Hopefully 2. That would be ideal if they're only playing 2 basics. I think we just Proving Ground. We take 4. I mean, we just need to survive till we start Deadly Cover-Upping, basically. Yeah, let's get rid of this Inty. Drawing something for this turn would be pretty nice. Opponent. Reckoner Bankbuster. Sure. Cleansing Wildfire. Well, okay, let's first off blow up Blackleaf Cliffs. Do the land check. I'd be very surprised if we had a strip mine here. Wait, they didn't float mana. Do they not have a... Okay, they have a basic. Oh, do they have another basic? Are they only playing 2? We're about to find out. Does it matter what color we get? Not really. We have double Triome. We'll take a Swamp and then Cleansing Wildfire. Going after the Swamp. All right, opponent. Do you have 3 basics? About it. Oh my goodness, we got it. Okay, so opponent's only playing 2 basics, which means they might be in trouble. Oh, so we have Dire Strain Rampage, which is now land destruction. We have another Field of Ruin. Boy, we need 1 more Cleansing Wildfire to get rid of the basic. Opponent gonna draw with the Bankbuster. Ooh. Yeah, let's Buzz Crush. We will not blow up our land. We will blow up your land. Oh boy, we are kind of wrecking the best deck in the format. Play the Mountain Paths a turn. Now the question is, how long does our opponent actually stick it out? Oh, they're gonna attack? Oh god, okay. Oh, this works out really well. Opponent passes, no land. Well, we're just gonna escape. Draw 5. There's an Assassin's Trophy. That is another way we can get rid of a basic land. Well, land and land, pass the turn. Our opponent needs something here because we get to untap Chandra into double Assassin's Trophy. Get your land, get your Bankbuster. Opponent has to hit a land here. Or we're getting to like, oh my god, they whiffed. They're getting to like flawless victory mode. Chandra, take it up for some manas.
Let's go.
We might actually get a flawless victory in Pioneer. Hit your land, copy it, hit your Bankbuster. I mean, that is a clear battlefield. Are we gonna flawless victory the best deck in the format? About it. Oh, they found a land. They might be able to do something. Maybe. Bossy. Okay, they get to Bossies. I think we should be able to draw enough land destruction. So we're gonna blow up our opponent's land. We're gonna blow up one of our lands to do a little rampant. So as far as winning the game, it's pretty much Chandra or Buzz Crushers. We can find a Krenko's Buzz Crusher to beat down. Well, opponent back down to 0 lands. Let's just take a, I think we're on the like, tick up Chandra enough that we can burn you out plan. All right, there's a Field of Ruin. So our opponent's next land is covered. Oh no, opponent plays a land. We untap. Cleansing Wildfire. Actually, yeah, I guess we Cleansing Wildfire.
Fight with your heart.
And yeah, we'll blow up one of our lands. Keep thinning the deck, keep drawing cards. We want to just find a Buzz Crusher, really, so we can attack. All right, we find more lands. Opponent, would you like to search up a basic? I can't believe our opponent's sitting through this. Well, we're just gonna tick up for mana and play a land. I don't know, how does our opponent expect to win this game? Like, what is their plan? You know what? We're gonna Deadly Cover-Up just to exile Blood Crypts. That's how well this is going. Deadly Cover-Up on the completely empty board. We're gonna stake your Blood Crypts. Exile, oh, that's a beautiful Hand of Nothingness. Exile all 4 Blood Crypts. So now our opponent's odds of drawing lands dropping. They still got a bunch in their deck. But we still have a bunch of land destruction in our deck, and our Chandra is slowly ticking up towards lethal. Opponent finds a land. Well, we can't have that. We can't have that, can we? Let's build a Field of Ruin here. We should have almost all the basics out of our deck, right? That's the last two basics. Take up our Chandra. Let's actually draw cards with Chandra this time. Well, okay, we hit nothing. The problem with Chandra +1 is it only hits non-creature spells, instants and sorceries, so Fatal Push. Well, all right, let's draw cards again. How many cards? 16 cards in our deck? Are we gonna mill out? Okay, let's Field of Ruin your land. I mean, we don't really need to blow up this land, but at this point, we're kind of committed to the flawless victory. Just winning is not enough. Yeah, I think we got to stop +1ing Chandra, because we hit Escape to the Wilds, and we don't even want to cast it, because we draw 10, which maybe mills us out. All right. I mean, we're not going to let you have a land. Pony has been lucky enough to keep drawing lands, but... Why is our opponent still playing? Why? 2 basics and a glutton for punishment.
Let's go big.
Well, Demolition Field, in case you draw land. Opponent passes. Well, take up Chandra. At this point, we're just taking up Chandra. I mean, we're up to 17. Our opponent's life total is 18, so 2 more turns. The only question is, can we keep their lands off the battlefield? None of the Bugbear. Oh, that's actually a clock, too. Well, take up Chandra.
Here.
If our opponent plays a land, we are going to escape. Well, we have the Demolition Field, so they should lock in the flawless victory, right? And an opponent perhaps regretting the choice of only playing 2 basic lands in their Rakdos deck. Best deck in the format if we have lands. So I think we're just going to bring in a couple of Zika. Well, a Azeka's Chariot, just to kind of gum up the board. A Glissa could be okay too. Maybe just both Azeka's Chariots. Let's run it like that. On to game number 2. Game number 1, literal flawless victory. And we actually have the Zeka's Chariot. All right, well, we know the number, right? The number's 2. We need to get through two basics, and then we have real land destruction. Sunken Citadel, we need green, but we can get green off the Demolition Field. We really only need 1 green source. When we double black, double red, opponent, and Blood Tithe Harvester. Ooh, Fatal Push is decent. So because of Sunken Citadel, we can Demolition Field here. The question is, do we Demolition Field to get a swamp so we can Fatal Push? Or do we get a forest so eventually we can Azeka's Chariot? I guess we can just pass and see what our opponent does. This also maybe lets us Fatal Push something else that's not Blood Tithe Harvester. Blood Tithe Harvester are one of the least impactful of our opponent's creatures. Well, so far we've blown up 0 lands, but it's coming. It is coming. Reckoner Bankbuster. And a Duress. Yeah, they take the Chariot. Do we even care about this Blood Tithe Harvester? We're gonna start blowing up lands. I don't even know if we care about killing Blood Tithe, though. Let's blow up the land. All right, so opponent gets basic number 1 of 2. Yeah, let's just do it. Let's get the swamp, kill the Blood Tithe, take 0. Ideally, this Buzz Crusher can just block the Bankbuster. If there's a downside to this deck, it can be a little slow at times. But once it gets going, it's pretty hilarious. Let's play the Mountain. Blow up the basic. Always try to get a basic with Cleansing Wildfire if possible. All right, so opponent gets their Mountain, their last bait. Oh, they could have it in hand. Unlikely, but possible. Oh, that would be so good. Either way, okay, there's a Mountain. Well, either way, all of our land destruction is real land destruction now because our opponent's out of basics. They are up to 4 mana. They could get down with Sheoldred here, which, well, I guess Sheoldred's not the end of the world. We do have the Deadly Cover-Up. So basically, okay, stomps our face, and then gonna draw with the Bankbuster? Sure. We draw a Demolition Field. Well, let's get down, Buzz Crusher, I think. Do a little crushing and a little buzzing. Blow up. I don't know if it really matters. Sometimes we do like blowing up our own lands to thin the deck. I don't think we want to start doing that yet, though. Because we'd have to blow up Sunken Citadel, and it's really good with our Demolition Fields. If we had like the Triome down, we might blow it up. Well, get your land. How's those basics looking? All right. And Molten Collapse the Buzz Crusher. Sure. And then they can draw with Bankbuster. All right. Yep. Ooh. Interesting. Well, let's blow up a haunted ridge. Strip mine. Strip mine achieved in Pioneer. I tapped him properly, didn't I? We should have left up a red source so we could Dire Strain Rampage there. Let's see if we get punished for that. That was a little mistake. We could have blown up the Bank Buster. Well, we'll see. We'll see what our opponent does. Graveyard Trespasser. Yeah, we might have to spend the Dire Strain Rampage on the Bank Buster. It's actually an interesting spot. We're like so close to stabilizing, but our opponent's got a clock going now. We'd really like to get a Bone Crusher along with this Graveyard Trespasser with the Deadly Cover-Up. Opponent hits us to 13. Well, let's cycle the Triome. Into, okay, Assassin's Trophy is good. Double Assassin's Trophy. But we only have one green source. We can only do one thing. We don't want a Wrath yet. One Assassin's Trophy wastes a ton of mana. There's nothing great to exile with Deadly Cover-Up. We really want this Bone Crusher to come down before the Deadly Cover-Up. Wow, you know what? We might Dire Strain Rampage ourselves. This is kind of a very weird line. I think we want to Dire Strain Rampage ourselves to get more green mana, and then next turn we can do two things. And in our dream world, our opponent will play the Bone Crusher, and then we can Wrath away both, and then Assassin's Trophy the Bank Buster, and essentially have our opponent on an empty board. And then we can just start aggressively going after lands. All right, well, this is your window, opponent. Wow, they can also exile the Dire Strain Rampage. All right, another Graveyard Trespasser. If our opponent doesn't have a land, they can't finish off this Bank Buster either. Wow, they eat the Cleansing Wildfire. Okay. The flashback thing seems better. Oh, opponent, you might end up regretting that choice. Ooh, they do draw a land, but they play it tapped. All right, so they're just gonna go aggro. They could hit us for 8 or at least 7. I mean, that does put us dead in one turn. They don't know that we have a handful of sweepers in removals. All right, so we drop to 6. Opponent again leaves a Dire Strain Rampage. It's kind of funny. We actually have to Assassin's Trophy first to get more mana value in the graveyard, and then we can exile something with Deadly Cover-Up. So get rid of the Bank Buster. There is still a window where opponent could get back into this. They still have 5 mana, so Deadly Cover-Up. Collect a bit of evidence. I don't even know what we get rid of here. We're at 6? I guess any creature's kind of good. We might just take Blood Tithe. They've already used 2 Graveyard Trespassers, so we're gonna get less value. Yeah, I think we just snag the Blood Tithe. Oh, Fable in hand though? Oh, we get a look at the deck. That is another nice little benefit of Deadly Cover-Up, is we do get a peek. Well, we're kind of in a sketchy spot. Fable the Mirror Breaker is probably the best card our opponent can have in hand here, because we can't deal with it with just the Assassin's Trophy. I guess Trophy plus Dire Strain Rampage can do it, so there's the Fable. Bone crushes us down to 4. Oh my god, that's Chandra. Oh, that's actually insane. I mean, we still need to hit something to deal with the Bone Crushers. But we get to double Assassin's Trophy. Get rid of both halves of the Fable. Well, I guess a single Assassin's Trophy can deal with the whole Fable. You just need a Chandra. Now what? Yeah, I think we gotta draw, right? We need... Well, Cleansing Wildfire is fine. That's actually pretty good. The problem is we need to not die to double Bone Crusher, so we have to hit a sweeper here. If we hit a sweeper here... Okay, that's not a sweeper. If we hit a sweeper here, we're good. Oh, okay, Brothers at End. That's good. We can activate the Demolition Field to get a red source. And then we can Cleansing Wildfire into Brothers at End. That seems good. Blow up the Blackleaf Glyphs. Yeah, we need one more red source of mana. Oh no! Oh, we're out. Oops. Well, this is awkward. Okay. I mean, we have to Brothers at End. Thankfully, Chandra's at 7, so... Well, copying the spell here is actually bad for us. All right. Well, Chandra goes to 1. We deal with the Bone Crushers, play the land. Lose the Cleansing Wildfire that we really want. We really want a Cleansing Wildfire, double it, then... Ooh, all right. Unlicensers. Wow, they're still leaving that Dire Strain Rampage. We're going to cast that real quick. Get rid of the Unlicensers. And, well, now we just want land destruction. Yeah, opponent definitely should have got rid of this. They had multiple chances to get rid of this Dire Strain Rampage and didn't. Blow it up, blow it up. Well, now we're like a couple of land destruction spells away from once again being on the flawless victory plan. Opponent, would you like to find a Aw, no lands. Well, we're going to keep drawing with Chandra for now. Oh, there's an Assassin's Trophy. That's good.
Come on, Chandra.
Guild of Guin. Ooh. Field of Ruin. We might not be able to get a flawless victory, but we might be able to get our opponent to no colored mana. Blow up the black source. Blow up the mountain. This deck, I can't believe our opponent's sticking around. I mean, I guess they're drawing live at this point. We're about one land destruction spell away from our opponent. I mean, are they even drawing live? Blow up their last red source. So they have 2 Field of Ruins, no colored mana. Yeah, we're going down lands now, but that's fine. Chandra, I think we're to the try to take up Chandra a bunch for lethal plan. The only risk, we're at 21 cards. Oh, they drew a land. Oh, so awkward. All right, Chandra, find us something or not. We can't really escape to the wilds because it gets copied. It's not a May on Chandra, and we can't afford to draw 10 at the moment. We'll mill out. So I guess our opponent gets to untap with a black source for now, unfortunately. Oh, another land. Wow, they're actually still kind of in this. Ah, there we go. Okay, there's Assassin's Trophy. So now we get to Assassin's Trophy. Blow up both the colored sources, and now we can finally, I think, escape.
They won't know what hit them.
Yeah, we can cast and escape to the wilds. We just can't double it. All right, we have 2 Bruz Crushers and a Chariot left. All right, so we still have some finishers. We just need to hit one of those and we should win. All right. Well, I think we're committed to taking up for mana the rest of this game, or we are gonna mill out. Play the land. Well, we might be getting another flawless victory here. This might actually be another flawless victory because we have the Cleansing Wildfire. Opponent sacks the blood, discards, looking for a land, whiffs. Well, Cleansing Wildfire. Are we gonna mill out? Can we just draw a finisher? I'm a little worried that we're gonna mill out. Blow up both of the Field of Ruins. Draw 2. That's not a finisher. Cleansing Wildfire number 2. I mean, we gotta hit the finish. We gotta hit him eventually, right? They're all in our deck. There's only 6 cards left. We'll take up Chandra. Mana. You know what? Let's cast a Deadly Cover-Up just to exile something. That's how you know things are going well, when you're casting Deadly Cover-Ups on an empty board. I mean, I guess the fact that our opponent has literally 0 lands also plays into it. Yeah, let's just take the Blood Crypt. Opponent's hand, a Sheoldred, unlikely to be cast. How many lands do they have left? 10, maybe? 8? All right. Wow, can we actually get a double flawless? Are we gonna get a double flawless victory against the best deck in the format? The odds of that seem so incredibly low. Come on, no land. Oh, if we do all this and then lose to milling out, I'm gonna cry. Oh, thank you, Magic Gods. All right, Buzz Crusher. No land to blow up, but that's fine. Just a 4/4 flyer is a super big deal at the moment. All right, take it up. Pass the turn. Opponent, no lands. I mean, we have a Field of Ruin. We got to get the flawless victory. We're committed. We're committed to the flawless victory at this point. I am shocked our opponent has stuck it out this long. I would have scooped 20 minutes ago, especially after getting flawless in game 1. So props to our opponent, because normally it's impossible to have a game like this on content because no one's going to stick it out to the bitter end, but our opponent has. Well, get in, hit ya. I mean, we have 4 cards in our deck. Incorrect to blow up this land, but we have to because we need the flawless victory. If we don't get a flawless victory, it doesn't even count. We're gonna scoop. If it's not flawless, it's not a win. Cleansing Wildfire.
You're toast.
Blow up the land. So we can play the Chandra, and then we have the win next turn. Wow, we almost played through our entire deck. But our reward is a flawless victory. I mean, it is, right? Because we have the Field of Ruin. So we'll just play the Chandra. So even if our opponent draws a land, we can blow it up before we kill him.
This war
just to
ends
make
today.
a point. Pass the turn. Opponent does not draw the land, and wow. Well, arena players, this is why you play more than 2 basics. There are people like me out here that are willing to play a bunch of very bad land destruction spells to try to follow this victory. Well, shout out to our opponent for sitting through that. Like I said, I would have scooped many turns ago, but our opponent, they just kept playing. They did the best they could with no mana. Teaching arena zoomers why they gotta play basics. Ooh, double buzz crusher, eh? That sounds fine. Removal, sweeper, double buzz crusher. I mean, buzz crusher is one of the big reasons we're playing this. Ooh, is it? Okay. Also top 1600. Opponent Voldaren Epic. Yeah. Ooh, this might be the Ensoul Artifact deck. I've been thinking about playing the Ensoul Artifact deck because I think Case of the Filch Falcon is really good, even though I'm still not convinced Filch is a word. Hilariously, the fact we're playing Power Word Kill is actually going to be very relevant over like Go for the Throat here. Found it heads us. Well, let's Hive of the Eye Tyrant. Oh, we need a red source. We really don't want our opponent to loot with the Copter. Although if we find a red source, we can sweep artifacts with Brotherhood's End. Well, let's see what they do. All right. Well, I think we kill the Copter, and Brotherhood's End on artifacts still gonna be good. Geardrake's a real card. I like Geardrake a lot. Opponent fired up the Copter. Well, we're gonna kill it. Would prefer our opponent not to start looting. I'm pretty sure, with this being presumably a Ensoul Artifact style deck, pretty sure Brothers at End on artifacts going to be good, even without that Copter out there. Plus, ooh, there's the Case. Filch and the Falcons. Yeah. And it's solved. Well, All right, Magic Gods. How about a red source? So I can make a 4/4 with Case if they want to. Case of the Filch Falcon also really good with vehicles. Like, you put the 4 counters on a Smuggler's Copter, you have a 7/7 Smuggler's Copter that you no longer need to crew. It's kind of wild. That's something I want to build in Standard is Case of the Filch Falcon vehicles. We still got a lot of vehicle support. And I feel like this is like a really sneaky, like another way that you can turn on vehicles without having creatures. Opponent. Wow, just gonna crack a clue. Interesting. I was expecting them to get aggro, but instead they cracked the clue. Maybe they have a counter? Red mana. Red. Red source. Red source. Oh, this one's gonna hurt. This one is going to hurt. Yeah, I mean, Buzz Crusher is great, and we will play it in the future, but blowing up all the artifacts here seems kind of insane. Yeah, I mean, this is a nice little 4-for-1, and it's not all just tokens. We got a Copter and a Drake out of it, and now the Case is not as scary. Well, we haven't blown up a land yet, but it's coming. I promise it's coming. Another Case of the Filch Falcon, sure. Yeah, you're gonna turn it on. It doesn't have haste though. Ooh, we get another land. Well, sweep them. Actually, if we wait a turn. Yeah, let's just do it. If we wait a turn, we can get more mana value in the graveyard and collect some evidence, but I think this is fine. Eventually, we're gonna... I don't know how many basics they're playing. They could be playing a lot, right? They're an Izzet deck. I don't know. Players are just so greedy, though. Like, this is a deck I would assume you could easily play a consistent mana base and have, like, 6 basics, but they're probably playing, like, 1 or something, just because people are so greedy with their basics now. Maybe Tomer was right all along, even as we mocked him for it. So our opponent can Case. They can also Looter Scooter. So we take 7. Hopefully we just hit like a Fatal Push here. That would be ideal. All right, there's a Fatal Push and another Escape. We still have 2 land drops. All right, let's play the Sunken Citadel. Green. And then we'll just play the Swamp, pass the turn. Next turn, I mean, assuming our opponent's sticking around, not everyone's gonna be like our first opponent and just play to the bitter end. Opponent, gonna crack the map. Yeah, I mean, the downside of this is our opponent knows the Fatal Push is there, so they're a lot less likely to just fire off this Smuggler's Copter, I assume. Or maybe, okay, well, I guess our opponent is just okay with it dying, or they have a counter. I mean, Fatal Push it? Krango's Buzz Crusher is so good. It's so good. Found it, Jengatha. Like, land destruction that's also a 4/4 flyer is pretty sweet. Ooh, another Wrath. Well, I mean, we're not under much pressure, so I think we can keep drawing cards here. Do some more escaping. So if we hit the right lands, we can escape to the wilds. Okay, that works. So we get to play 2 lands. We need the green source. So play the green source. Dire Strain Rampage. And we're going to go after the lands. We could blow up the Case, but let's see. I mean, they got to have at least a basic here, right? We haven't seen a basic yet. There's no way they're playing 0. Arena players are greedy, but they're not that greedy. That would just be insane. So they actually get to get 2 lands. So we might be ramping our opponent. All right, so opponent gets, so they have at least 2 basics, but we got to do a little ramping before we blow up their lands. I think we just play Sunken Citadel. Well, Nah, let's play the Field of Ruin. It's gonna go to waste. And we do want to start attacking our opponent's mana. That last Escape to the Wilds was kind of jank. Kind of a lot of lands. Let's see what you got. Opponent hits us. Down to 11. And Chingatha. Well, it might be Wrath time. Yeah, I mean, this time we can collect some evidence. Actually, I don't even know if we need to. I mean, I feel like this game's about to end. I guess we should have. We're not really using our graveyard for anything, so we probably should have just collected the evidence. Buzz Crusher? Wow, an opponent scoops it. Okay, so we didn't actually blow up many lands that game. In fact, we actually just ramped our opponent that game, trying to blow up lands. I mean, I guess that shows we got a game against aggro, right? So we took down Jund. Now we're up against one of the more aggressive decks in the format. Wow, maybe this deck's actually just good. It would be so amazingly hilarious if there was a competitive land destruction deck in Pioneer, because Wizards has tried so hard to make land destruction not playable, and the ingenuity of Magic players keeps finding a way around it. You know, if watch this deck become tier 1, which it won't, but if it did, it would probably catch a ban, because I don't think WotC would let a competitive land destruction deck exist in Pioneer. I think they would just straight up ban something. They're gonna have to be Dire Strain Rampage or something, like something absurdly silly, but I bet they would. I don't think they would let it exist. On to game number 2. Pioneer land destruction versus, I guess it's in Soul Artifact, or maybe Case of the Filch Falcon now, but essentially the same thing. One of the cute upsides of Dire Strain Rampage is it also is main deck artifact destruction and enchantment destruction. So it's good against, it's like incidentally good against decks like this. I think we keep this. Little awkward color-wise, but Sunken Citadel Field of Ruin, actually pretty good. We can Sunken Citadel on one and then use the fields to fix our mana. We still don't know how many basics our opponent has. We know the answer is at least 2, but they could have more. I feel like this is the deck that could be playing more. Opponent starts with a chip, but people don't. They're just greedy. They're just greedy. Volnir and Epica. Well, land on red. This game, we're going to pretty quickly see how many basics our opponent has, because we have five ways to blow up non-basics in hand, or actually Cleansing Wildfire gets basics too. There's a Smuggler's Copter. Well, play Field of Ruin. So we can do the cute little trick of like, do we just do it now? They could have Tishana's Tidebinder. I don't think they do, but in theory that could be a thing. Let's blow up the land. I think we get a Swamp to leave up Fatal Push for the Looter Scooter. All right, so there's basic number 1. We knew about that. We knew there's at least 2. But we got the Smuggler's Copter answered. But you can't really not attack with it, right? It's not like you can play around Fatal Push. Ooh, and Soul Artifact. Okay, that's a clock. I think we still kill the Copter. I think it's worth taking more damage to not let our opponent loot. We don't want them to loot into lands. We wanna actually get that flawless victory. Well, kill the Smuggler's Copter. Take 5. Ooh, another Fatal Push. That's actually a pretty sweet draw. Well, let's Field of Ruin. They could have Spell Pierce. Let's just Fatal Push first. Get rid of the Blood Token. And now we will Field of Ruin. All right, so here comes basic number 2. The question is, do they have more? We should be able to find out next turn. If the answer is no, our opponent is in for a rough time. I wonder how salty people get when you're like actually trying to grind for like top 1200 mythic or whatever, and then you run into us. I mean, we're just teaching life lessons about playing basics. Like it's that easy. Because WotC refuses to give us real land destruction, all you gotta do is play more basics and our deck does nothing. Alright, play the tap land, Dire Strain Rampage. Unfortunately, we can't go for a land because our opponent has a 5/5. We do get to see if they tutor up a land, though. Oh, okay, 2. 2 is the number, so that means all of our land destruction is actual land destruction now. Wow, they're just getting Jingot. That is ambitious. That is ambitious, opponent. I don't think you're gonna ever... Ooh, we gotta just double Cleansing Wildfire, though. Blow up a land. We could escape to the wilds, but I think it's better put our opponent down to 1 mana so they can never cast this Chingatha. So they can never really cast anything. And then next turn we can escape to the wilds. Cleansing Wildfire. No blue mana for you. Ooh, and an extinction event. Yeah, I think we're in good shape. Darksteel hit it. That's like cheating. Well, I guess we're not getting a flawless victory because our opponent has an indestructible land. We do get to draw a bunch of cards, play the tap land, play this mob. Well, if they can like Ensoul Artifact up the Darksteel Citadel, well, I guess we can blow up the Ensoul Artifact. They need a case of the Filch Falcon, the Darksteel Citadel. And then we could actually die to that. Well, play the tap land. Yeah, I guess we just Chandra. Ooh, resolves. And take it up for some mana. Yeah, opponent. Done, diddly done, and two basics. Play more, or this will keep happening. Land destruction time. Teaching Arena Zoomers about basic lands, why you should be playing them, and we will play first Jingatha A. Can't keep that one lander. This, I mean, we keep it. It's not exciting. Well, Sunken Citadel on red go. Let's see what our opponent's doing. Could be Is It again, I guess. We just played Is It with Jingatha. Could be a sack deck with Jingatha. We'll see. Oh god, mountain. Oh no. Okay, so so there is bad news about this deck. The bad news is, and we've talked about this, we're gonna Cleansing Wildfire this mountain. The bad news is, if our opponent is playing a bunch of basics, we're probably gonna lose. And if our opponent's mono red, their mana base is probably 12 plus basic mountains. There is no way we can slog through all of them. Monastery Swift Spear. That is the one fatal flaw of this deck. It's very bad against monocolor. Doubly so against monocolor aggro. Oh, look at this hand. This hand would be beautiful against a lot of decks, but not against this. Oh, that's a non-basic though. All right, Den of the Bugbear. Opponent. But yes, any monocolor deck, I don't want to say it's an insta-loss or an auto-loss, but it might be. It's close. It's pretty close. Like, we could probably play against this mono red deck 100 times, and how many would we win? One, maybe. It would be a little. I mean, you're gonna win some percentage just because of mana screw, right? Like, there will be some percentage of games where our opponent just doesn't do anything. But this is like as close to an unwinnable matchup as I can imagine. Well, we will ramp you, opponent, and deck thin for you, and give you mana that you can spend on a play with fire. Yeah, we're so dead. Well, okay, for all the power in flawless victories, there is also some drawback. We're down to 6, and we scoop it up. Yeah, I mean, there's no possible way. The bad news is all around in this one, but it gets worse. We can bring in like a couple of things like Brothers, Hood End, another sweeper. The problem is like all of our land destruction just doesn't do anything. Like Cleansing Wildfire, pretty much a dead card. Look at this curve now without the Cleansing Wildfires. Even Buzz Crusher. I mean, at least Buzz Crusher is a 4/4, but, well, we will play first. It's got an Azeka's Chariot. I mean, we only have 2 lands, which isn't great, but in theory, we can get to the Azeka's Chariot, gum up the ground, Monastery Swift Spear. The other thing that is doubly awkward against these monocolor decks is we have 8 Field of Ruins, and you need them to fix our mana. Another Swift Spear, and we just can't against basics, right? We can't even activate them. Opponent. All right, only hits us for 2. Passes. 3 Dire Strain Rampages. We actually need a land so we can Dire Strain Rampage ourselves to get rid of the Field of Ruin. Ooh, all right. Here comes the faces. And light up the stage. So yeah, this is just over. Wow, we've had some sweet wins with this deck, and this was just a massacre. Like, yes, we didn't draw any lands, but did that really matter? Not really. I think we're still just dead. I know it's 2024. We got lots of cool utility lands, so many sweet dual lands, but you gotta play some basics. You gotta play some basics. This hand actually looks pretty good. We don't know what our opponent's up to, but in the dark it seems pretty good. Removal, land destruction, card draw. Ooh. Oh god. Okay. Well, if you've been playing standard, you know the Boros Convoke deck. The Pioneer version is even scarier. It's like that deck on steroids. Well, we're gonna kill the Novice Inspector. I think the goal is to keep the board clear. I don't know. So this is another deck. You would assume they could play like 5 or 6 basics if they wanted to. The actual number might be lower though, because of the greed. Opponent, Thrabes, Warden. Well, we can just fire off this Brothers Hood End, which I think we will, because if we wait a turn, this Warden's gonna get too big. So I think we just gotta sweep here. I think the best strategy against the Boros Convoke decks, it's got Convoke in the name, right? They need a lot of creatures on the battlefield to do their most powerful stuff. Thalia's a little annoying. Another Warden. We kind of need another Sweeper already. Opponent is down to 2 cards, though, and we can at least cycle the Cleansing Wildfire. Yeah, let's blow up a land. Draw a card. I mean, you gotta... Okay, so opponent has a mountain. Ooh. All right, can we live long enough? Can we live long enough with this Thalia out to get to Deadly Cover-Up is the question. Voldaren Epica. Down to 19. And another Thrabes. Warden really pops off in this deck. 1, 2, 3. They can tap... Yeah, they can tap twice. So it's going to be a 4/5 flyer? Yeah. I mean, we can live 2 more turns, though, right? Hopefully. If they have Immodame's Recruiter or a Bushwhacker effect, we die. I guess it's probably an actual Bushwhack in Pioneer. Well, blow up a land. Can't do anything else. Grab a swamp. Opponent. Whoa! 1? They're only playing 1. Oh, okay. Oh, this is way more realistic than I thought then. Wow, that is... I mean, the greediest you can be is 0 basics, but this is close. 1 basic is... Oh, Gleeful Demolition, but that's fine. They can't kill us. They tap 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. We're gonna be at 3, but we have a Deadly Cover-Up, so we're not dead. We get to play the land. We get to sweep. We get to collect evidence to get rid of... I don't even know. Doesn't really... Oh, what is the scariest thing? Well, okay. I guess we don't even have to make the choice. Well, that went better than I thought. I mean, I guess that's the power of having a million sweepers. I will say, one card that's really impressed me with this deck is actually Deadly Cover-Up. So we talked about in the intro how, like, part of its power is we can use it to get rid of our opponent's lands, but it's a really good sweeper. It's got some upside against like Arclight Phoenixes and even just Wrath and get rid of all the copies of whatever the best thing in your graveyard is for value. Even that's pretty fine. Ugh, I think we gotta ship this one. All right, this is actually pretty good. We'll put Chandra to the bottom. A little expensive for the matchup. The fastest, scariest deck in Pioneer on the play. Can we keep up? I mean, we have Brotherhood End and we have Deadly Cover-Up and we have the Fatal Push. This is a pretty good hand to keep up with our opponent being on the play here. Opponent. Thalia. That does slow us down. Well, Sunken Citadel on red. Go. Our land destruction is going to be on pretty quick. Opponent needs a big turn here. Opponent hits us. Passes? Okay, that's... Oh, they might have Resolute Reinforcements. Or Soken'Zan. Although that does put him down a land. Well, let's blow up a land. Opponent can get their singular basic mountain. The greed. The greed. Greedy arena players. All right. Well, opponent. We have a bunch of strip mines now. Okay, there's Immodane's Recruiter. So we do get smacked for a bunch, but we do have the Brotherhood Zen, so we're not dead. So sweep the board. And we have the Deadly Cover-Up, although we don't have double black yet. We will get it in 2 turns, but we don't have it this turn. Opponent, Thrabes. Sure. Gleeful Demolition. Sure. Well, Field of Ruin. We gotta hope to fade a Immodane's Recruiter style card. If they have another Bushwhacker, okay. Well, I mean, it all comes down to this draw. If they draw a Bushwhacker, we die. Otherwise, we drop to 2 and then sweep, and we hopefully are good because our opponent is now, the land destruction is now actually on. No Bushwhacker, that's big. Well, we drop to 2. Passing. Well, ooh, and another strip mine. Well, sweep them. Go. And opponent scoops it up, and we might have got a flawless victory there if our opponent stuck around. Well, aggro, no problem. Just don't be monocolored, please. Well, let's see what our opponent's up to and how many basics they're playing. Yeah, sound looks fine. A little slow for the Field of Ruins, but we'll make do. Ooh, Triome A. All right. Well, Zeotor's Proving Grounds. Go. So what is our opponent on? Den of the Bugbear. And I guess we blow up a Triome. I don't think we've run into anyone who's greedy enough to play 0 basics. We have run into 1 basic. 2 basics, kind of common. And then mono red, the nightmare. We don't talk about that match. Impulse. Oh, this might be Lotus Field. Well, it is Kranko's Buzz Crusher's time to shine. So, oh, there's a Fatal Push too. A little late with the Fatal Push. So, traditionally, this would be a bad matchup because we can't blow up Lotus Field because of Hexproof. Let's do a basic check. Oh, 1? Oh, they're only playing 1. Okay. Well, the problem is they have a land that taps for 3 mana and is currently hexproof, but it's going to be very interesting. So before Buzz Crusher, this was a bad, oh no, and the Thespian stage. Before Buzz Crusher, this was a really bad matchup. Can Buzz Crusher make it a good matchup? Since it's land destruction that can actually blow up Lotus Field, unfortunately, we're not drawing, we're not drawing them at the moment. Well, blow up the island. We have our opponent at 2 lands, but those 2 lands make 6 mana. We need the Buzz Crusher, and we need it soon. Sylvan Scrying for a all right. Yeah, there's not enough Buzz Crushers in the world to get us out of this. Triple Lotus Field. Oh, boy. 3 lands, 9 mana, all hexproof. All right. All right. Well, maybe this is still a bad matchup. We'll see. So we're going to bring in Thought Seizes. We're going to bring in Thought Distortions. We're gonna go down these sweeper creature things that don't really do anything. Do we want Chandra? Definitely need Alpine Moons. That's another way we can shut down a Lotus Field. Yeah, I guess we don't Fatal Push. Well, let's run it like that. Game 1 wasn't good, but we didn't draw Buzz Crusher. Now we have Alpine Moon, and we have less dead discard. Let's see how good this. Watsy even said they specifically worded Buzz Crusher. We gotta keep this. We really need a land of another color, but we have the Alpine Moon and a Thoughtseize, and maybe eventually Thought Distortion. So opponent doesn't have the Strict Proctor, they do have a Lotus Field. I think we just take the Impulse and try to strand the 6 and 7 drops in their hand. Ooh, red mana is actually very good here. Yeah, let's let them get their 1 basic. I mean, we might be fast enough since they only have 1 basic to can we just keep them off of ever Lotus Fielding? Because now all of our stuff is real land destruction. Ooh, there's the Proctor. Although we do have the Alpine Moon, but they have the Beseiju. We can't kill the Proctor. Well, I guess we Demolition Field. We need green mana for the Rampage. Strip Mine, you. Grab a green source. I don't think there's any point in running out the Alpine Moon yet. They're going to play Lotus Field, but it is tapped. Escape. We got to do it, right? I don't know how else we're going to get the Beseiju out of their hand. I guess we can blow up the island this turn. Maybe we can get them in a position where they feel like they have to play the Beseiju because they're missing a land drop. Oh, no. Buzz Crusher. We need a Buzz Crusher. Or on red, I guess. It doesn't really matter. This is rough. Sadly, our opponent has the answer. We know they have the answer. The second Lotus Field is not good for us. Well, maybe this is still a bad matchup. So opponent gets to blow up the Alpine Moon. Untap and Chandra. We get a Triome, so our mana's fixing itself. I mean, I guess we do have the Thought Distortion, but they're gonna have a Chandra. Yeah, there's a Chandra. Good card. We also have Chandras. Digs up for mana. Hits us for 1. Well, there's a Buzz Crusher. We have enough mana that we can play it and pay for the Proctor. This gets rid of a Lotus Field. That second one is still around. So opponent's gonna have what? 3, 4, 5, 6 mana? 7. I guess we gotta hope they don't draw a untap land here. Well, Buzz Crush ya. Blow up that Lotus Field. Something no other land destruction spell in the format can do. And we also get a 4/4 that can pressure the Chandra. Opponent. I'm glad they printed. The wording on Buzz Crusher is a little awkward, but I'm glad they made an answer to Lotus Field. 4 mana. I don't know how much it actually. We'll see. We'll see. Let's see what our opponent does with the Chandra taken down. All right. Yep. We dropped to 12. They kill the Buzz Crusher. They hit us. 2 in a row. 2 in a row. 2 in a row. Okay. Yes. Oh my goodness, they drew 2 Lotus Fields, we drew 2 Buzz Crushers, and now our opponent's at 1 mana. Opponent, gonna tick up.
together.
If we can get rid of the Chandra, our opponent is really in trouble. Yeah, let's tap manually. Escape to the wilds, draw a few cards. Whew, we wouldn't have been able to get rid of the Chandra. Buzz Crusher was legit there. I mean, we definitely got lucky to draw 2 in a row, but Lotus Field, they got up to what, 7 mana with 2 Lotus Fields, and we got them back down to 1? That was actually very impressive. Maybe Buzz Crusher is enough. Well, we beat Lotus Field that game at least. The fact that they only have 1 land means they are pretty Lotus Field dependent. Like, they really do need the Lotus Field. This looks like a keep to me. We got a Buzz Crusher. We got multiple land destruction spells and a go blank. We are going to need to draw more lands, but we're a pretty land heavy deck, so we should. Ooh, lane line. All right. Well, that does mean our go blank. I mean, we have the rampage to deal with it eventually, but it does mean we're not going to immediately be able to go blank. Opponent, Sylvan Scrying. I assume to get a Lotus Field. Well, play the land. Blow up the mana confluence. I think this keeps our opponent from being able to proctor Lotus Field this turn at least. Because their basic is an island. So next turn we can rampage, and then the following turn we can double land destruction. Opponent, Vizia. The question is, do we need to deal with this ley line to turn on our discard, or do we just, I guess we just keep hitting lands? It would be nice to kill the Vizier. Yeah, let's just feel the ruin, blow up a land. If our opponent plays the Lotus Field, it's kind of good for us actually. So let's play the Alpine Moon. So opponent's gonna have to deal with it to turn on the Lotus Field. And then if they Lotus Field, we have the Buzz Crusher. All right, opponent's gonna Impulse. At some point, we probably are gonna blow up this ley line. We definitely don't wanna run out the Buzz Crusher until it deals with the Lotus Field. Either that or if they play the Lotus Field. Ooh, okay, it does not currently have hexproof. Well, there are ways this goes wrong, but if they can blow up the Alpine Moon in response, it'll get hexproof again. Oh no, they have Besayu. Well, at least we get a land. Not that that's super exciting here. Besayu on the Alpine Moon. So opponent's gonna have 5 or 6 mana. Triome. We're not gonna use the extra mana this turn. And then I think we just kill the Vizier. So at least they can't double Lotus Field. And then next turn we got the Buzz Crusher. The thing about having a Lotus Field on the battlefield is that turns on the Thespian stages. So we really don't like leaving that on the battlefield if we can help it. We kind of actually want to draw land now. If we draw land, we could... All right, there's a Proctor. Ooh, and a second Lotus Field. All right, now we need to draw land. We need to draw land so we can pay for the Proctor with the Buzz Crusher, or else double Lotus Field, we might just die. I feel like I always lose to Lotus Field, no matter what I'm doing, but... Well, let's see if we draw land. If we draw land, we have options. Ooh, another Vizier. We do not draw land. So we might have to, wow, this is tricky. We might have to blow up the ley line and go blank to get their last card and then hope to draw land for the future. That might be our only real option here. Yeah, this hurts, but we gotta do it. So blow up the ley line. I mean, so at least our opponent has no cards in hand. Go blank. Get rid of whatever that last card is. Ooh, it was a pour over pages. All right, good to have that gone or we might have just died. All right, Vizier, cycled, untaps, hits us. Ooh, another Proctor. These Proctors are really taxing our Buzz Crusher, which is annoying. So we drew the land, but now there's 2 Proctors, so we still can't Buzz Crush. We can kill a Proctor. And then I guess just blow up the Tuara. Opponent still has like unlimited mana this turn. Opponent flips the mana. Gotta play technically correct. Opponent draws. Oh no. Okay, Omniscience. We can actually kill that. This Dire Strain Rampage is proving its worth. Well, I mean, we gotta blow that up. All the Lotus Fields in the world don't matter if there's an Omniscience. We can have our opponent do 0 lands and it's not going to matter. Opponent. Okay, Mana Confluence. Faded. So we get to blow up a Lotus Field. We're still in a precarious spot though, because our opponent still has double Lotus Field because of the Vizier. I think we blow up our landed deck thin. Get a Swamp out of the deck. Play the Hive. Okay, hold. Opponent passes. Ooh, Assassin's Trophy. Well, I think we actually have to Assassin's Trophy the Vizier. It's not a land, but it's almost like blowing up a Lotus Field, since our opponent can untap the Lotus Field. And untaps it. Sure. Make them use their floating mana on an impulse. We're going to fire up, I guess, Hive? Get in some damage. I mean, I guess that's... Our opponent's down to 5 mana now, so the biggest hitters are off the table for the moment. So now our goal is to kill our opponent before they can reassemble the mana. Go to combat, hit you for 7, exile... I don't know if it really matters. Let's go Omniscience. I don't think there's a way they can get back Omniscience, but... Found it. Oh, down. Well, actually, no, Bella get a recovery, so there are ways. 4 more pages. I'm glad they don't have 2 Lotus Fields. If they had 2 Lotus Fields and this was generating mana, we'd be in really bad trouble. Instead, this is actually kind of close. We might actually be winning. It's just always scary against this deck because, oh, all right, there's another Lotus Field coming. All right. Ooh, okay, but there's a Buzz Crusher. Well, as long as we keep drawing as many Buzz Crushers as they draw Lotus Fields, we're good. Get in, hit ya. Gonna make another Lotus Field. I guess it's probably right to blow up the Thespian stage Lotus Field. Ooh, they have a Beseju too. Okay. They're playing a lot of Besejus then. Well, we will grab a Triome. And do a little Buzz Crushing. Pay the 2, and yeah, let's get the... I guess we thin our deck again. And then, yeah, we'll whip the Thespian stage. It's not likely they're going to change it to something else, but technically has upside. Well, the Buzz Crushers are kind of doing their job against Lotus Field. This is sort of working. Opponent's back down to 5 mana. Oh, Sylvan Scrying for a Lotus Field. Or a Thespian stage. Okay, Lotus Field. Yeah, plays it, counters it. Oh, our opponent's gonna be so salty. That's another Buzz Crusher. Oh god, found it, drops to 7. Buzz Crusher? I guess they can't be too salty because they are also top decking the Lotus Field, so I guess it's like kind of fair. Although they have way more ways to find Lotus Field than we do to have Buzz Crusher. We just gotta draw it naturally. Our opponent has like Sylvan Scryings and such. Opponent gonna blow some mana. We're gonna keep doing the thing. Blow up a Triome, blow up a Lotus Field. More importantly, we're actually just presenting lethal. Well, also important, maybe not more important. If they don't draw something, the Buzz Crushers actually pulled it off. Somehow, some way. Not quite gonna be a flawless victory, but we blew up 3 Lotus Fields this game. 3 Lotus Fields. Well, win the game or kill our stuff, I guess. Mastermind's Acquisition, but they can't tutor for anything that actually saves them, can they? Opponent, more Lotus Fields. The problem is they die now. Ooh, wow, okay, now they really die now. Chandra, kill the Proctor. Dome your face, attack ya,
Let's do this.
And Krenko's Buzz Crusher actually let us beat Lotus Field. Wow, okay, maybe it is good enough. That was actually kind of surprising. I knew it was supposed to be good against Lotus Field, but I didn't actually expect it to work, but it did. Sweet, sweet. So what do we learn this week about Chund land destruction in Pioneer/Explorer? And arena players are pretty greedy. Overall, we went 6-3 with the deck, which is a pretty good record, and we beat many of the best decks in the entire format. We beat Rakdos twice, we beat Boros Convoke, we beat Bant Lotus Field. These are like the best decks in the entire format, and we're totally wrecking them and even getting flawless victories against some of them with our janky land destruction plan. So the deck's actually really good against a lot of popular decks in the format, but as we talked about before, the deck does have one big flaw. All of our losses came to monocolor decks. Like, we're almost drawing dead against mono red or mono green or mono black, like decks that just play a ton of basics. And that's the funniest part about this deck. All you need to do to make our deck horrible is play like 6 basics in your deck. Even if you're playing 4 or 5 basics in your deck, that's probably enough. But so many players in so many decks are playing like 1 basic or 2 basic because everyone wants to jam every sweet channel land, utility land, dual land into their monocolor deck that it actually works to play all these super janky, not real land destruction spells because people are just so greedy and don't have enough basics to tutor up. So the only thing I wish is we could figure out a way how to improve the monocolored matchups. If there was some way to make this deck kind of work even a little bit against monocolor, this might actually be just a legit deck in Pioneer, which would be the funniest thing ever. WotC's tried so hard to just push land destruction out of the game. It would be so funny to me if we actually had like a top tier land destruction deck in Pioneer that's like working on super hard mode. Like I said in the intro, every single one of our land destruction spells replaces the land it blows up with a basic land. So we're working with this super hard mode land destruction, and the deck is still really, really effective against a lot of the best decks in the format. It just gets absolutely trashed when you run into a monocolor deck. So that's Jund land destruction. That's teaching Arena Zoomers. That's teaching Arena Zoomers why they should really play a few more basic lands. And that's been our video for today. So thanks for watching, everyone. I hope you enjoyed it. If you feel like blowing up some lands, try this deck because it's actually really sweet. Just dodge those monocolor decks. So thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed it. And I will talk to you soon. Looking for even more magic? Well, check out the video about Show and Tell in Timeless, or maybe the Against odds where we toss some butts in Standard.